Welcome to Unfiltered Awareness, a raw and authentic exploration that delves into the realms of consciousness, self awareness, and transformation. Co hosted by Cilia Antonio and Lucie. Join us as we embark on thought provoking conversation that challenge the norms and expand our understanding. Each episode is an edited conversation where we journey into these topics. We're so grateful you're here. Now let's dive in. I like what you shared, and there is one thing that I'm hearing, and it's more me maybe kind of having explored more thing is like there is a lot of, again, spiritual bypassing for me. It's also coming from contract, and you were saying I paid so many money, and I don't want to be there. I always say, like, to my client, always ask the question, not all the time because that's not the point, but like I'm always like throughout the container I'm with them with the experience we are having, always saying that, are you still okay? Because my
Mm.
like it's still not just okay, it's just like more question than that. But because the thing is, so many people will invest in anything, will like spend money in a course, a program, or even a long thing like of 12 months, and realize a couple of months down the line that actually it's not for them.
Yeah.
And when you say to them, you contact the person and say, actually, I realize it's not for me, I'd love out. They say, oh, there is no out.
Yeah.
Where is the
Or
ethic in that?
sometimes
That's,
they don't even reach out. This person didn't reach out to me.
yeah, that's when,
But I
oh, she's
remembered
paying, it
reading the
doesn't matter.
contract that I would still have to pay, so I didn't even say
And it
anything,
actually
which
is illegal as well.
yeah.
It's, this
Knowing
is
what I know
literally
now, I would
illegal.
have said something. I've been like, "Can I
You
like
can
pay
still
you
do
a
something.
fee and leave?" Because
Yeah, like even like it's so many level. It actually is illegal because at least like it's even in the US actually, because in Europe is even more strong than that, because I had a friend that went to a lawyer asking for some question, and if you were to charge someone the full amount and the person never showed up and they went to court, the court will actually give a reason to the customer, because they are your company
Mhm.
and they are a solo person. They are the vulnerable party. So the
Mhm.
vulnerable party usually will win. So the thing is, even you were the person would spend 30K, like you withdraw them 30K from the account, and the person's like, hang on, I never showed up, I don't want, I actually want out, and the person
Mhm.
went to court, they probably get back the 30K plus of the
Nice.
damage and everything. So, and again, in the US, there is a few things like scam stuff that are actually coming up, because this is actually like there is no out. There always should be an out.
Yeah.
If you cannot pay your house, let's say you have like if you cannot pay your mortgage, the bank will come and collect the mortgage because you
Yeah.
cannot pay. There is
Yeah.
one exception in the US is student loan. I heard that like a few weeks ago, that you cannot escape that, which is weird to me, but because
That
I'm from
sucks.
Europe,
Yeah.
if you have a
Luckily, I
student
don't have those.
debt, thank God, but like if you do have student debt, you cannot go bankrupt. You can't go bankrupt, but you still owe that
You
money.
still have to
Um,
pay the student debt?
yeah,
Oh my
still,
gosh.
this is crazy. This is madness. Anyway,
Yeah.
but this is all about like coming back to that of like sometimes, like they say, like I think we were talking about that a couple of months ago about someone. I was like, oh, no one stopped paying the mortgage. They do. No one like not paying the hospital bills. They do.
I know
Um,
exactly what post
and
you're
you're just
talking
like, oh,
about.
we're not going to say name, but like it's just like, oh, so the person decided wake up in the morning and say they cannot pay you. This should not, like, you're not letting them happen. Like if the person wakes up in the morning and say they cannot pay, there's probably a good valid reason. It's
Yeah.
not like they woke up in the morning. I was actually, I'm bored of you. I'm out. It's probably say going to the bank account. I was like, fuck, I'm maxed out on all my credit cards. I have solid debt of like crazy, like probably six figures, because there is some people that are that level of like falling the man infestation of
Yeah.
like multiple five figures in debt because of following like, oh yeah, the money will come back, blah blah
Whew.
blah, and then at some point all the cards are maxed out, you have no money to put on the table, you're a solo income,
You have
and
kids to feed, maybe.
you have kids to feed and you have no income coming in. Your body is saying, I want safety, and
Yeah.
safety is stopping payment.
Yeah.
Simple. Like let's like That's the simplest thing.
And
And
I
again,
understand that these coaches, like, they want you to, like, play big and not play small. These are the words that they say, I don't say this, and that's why
risk,
they're
risk, taking the risk, big
yeah,
risk,
and
the
that's why
bigger
they're
risk.
like, "You committed to this, so you need to pay." Um, but at the same time, what I'm seeing here is that they don't trust their clients. Why don't you trust your clients?
Yeah.
You know, shouldn't you only be working with clients that you trust so that when they come to you with something like that, you're like, "Okay, I hear you. You can get out."
And the other part as well, it's like if you really are like you don't need to be in the bro marketing or bro sales the way, but if you're actually going into a content, the content will always tell you you can only bank on the money you already have.
Mm,
You cannot bank of like, oh, okay, I have a client sign up for 12 months. Do it like I have like you can project that this money is coming, but you can also know that this company could bankrupt before the end of the year and you could sit on that money.
yeah.
So like there is a lot of like this industry has been banking of the money will come. So they would also themselves invest big with money they may not have and they need you to pay them so they can pay their own bills.
Yeah, or vacation.
Or vacations. Yeah, vacations could be that as well. Or tantric, whatever um retreats they're going through. Uh, anyway, nothing wrong about tantra and like it's all good. It's just sometimes anyway, it's a little bit wink of like if you know who we're talking about, you know. Don't think you know because it's a bit broad, but like it's all about that. Like sometimes like we were talking about money, and again we're definitely over 20 minutes, but anyway, we were talking about the sometimes they tell you the price, how much they earn, but without not including the taxes. Include it's actually not telling them,
Or
oh, I actually made
expenses.
multiple five figures, but I actually made 1,000 back to my own pocket. You know, I actually didn't make like my business made money, but
Mhm,
I didn't make it money. I didn't make money.
mhm.
And that's a big part of like finding the way. Like first of all, like if you're someone talking to me about money at this year, I'm like not listening unless
Yeah.
you're an OBM,
Unless you're
unless you're
what?
an OBM,
What's that?
online business manager, because
Oh,
those
okay.
people will talk
Okay.
about like they have the brain and like they're not talking about their own thing, they are talking about their own client and how like they could support you in, you know,
Mhm.
and they're not going to tell you I can make you six figures. It's just like we can work on things that to create to support you to like having money coming in more regularly and something like that.
Mhm.
These people I will trust, like at least trust in the sense of like listening to them. Because there is
Yeah.
one person that shared, and I was like, whoa, that was bold in this industry. She was sharing because we hear online it's like, yeah, you can have a very small following and make a lot of money, and blah blah blah. And this is probably true. Let's put
Mhm.
it this way. This is probably true. You could land like you could have a very small email list and like offering an offer, and the person that heard of you for 2 years, being waiting to work with you, and you offer something at 10K, and the person send an email back. I was like, I want it. That happens. Let's put it like this could happen. But most of us, if you have 100 follower, like you have 100 people in your list, but you haven't interacted to any of them, they don't know you, and you send an email, don't expect them to come back to you. And the thing is, what she was sharing was one thing of like, how many people, to actually get to a sale. And sometimes, it was like bigger numbers that like most of the coaching will share with you, like, oh yeah, you could make it with 10 people following you. Yes, you could make it with 10 people following you, but maybe they follow you for 2 years. Maybe you
Mm.
met them, or they have been in your sphere, they have been happening into free stuff that you've done, and then the job, and we call it like an overnight success,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
But it
and that's
actually, you
not
have been laying the soil, you have been planting the seeds, you have been watering it, and then one day we have a sprout. But how many sprouts did you have in the soil that haven't sprouted yet or will never?
mhm.
Well, like it's coming back to that. And again, we were talking about spiritual bypassing and we were going to another place. But I feel like we have so much to cover, not cover, but
Yeah. I also
being
love
in
how this
business.
this will, like, really easily tie into the next thing we wanted to talk about. which was internalized colonialism. I feel like all
Hmm.
of this stuff like points to that.
It does. Do you have any last words for this one?
I feel like if I said more stuff, we'd talk for another 20 minutes. I was going to say that everything you were talking about with like the 10 people, maybe they follow you for 2 years and that they're like, a sprout that comes up, that ties back into how important relationships are with your
Mm,
business. Like you could have 100 followers and make the money if you take the time to interact with those 100 people, like you said. Like when you
exactly.
mentioned the email list, like I have an email list. I have like maybe 200 people on there, but I'm not regularly putting an email lately.
Hmm.
I've been doing it once a week now for like a month, and I used to do it once a week for 2 years and then I dropped it. And yeah, it
It's
takes that
important.
time. But it's a surprise when someone messages you that they've been following you for a year and that they
Yeah.
wanna work with you, because that's happened to me before, and I'm like, "Oh, who is this person? I didn't know they were there in the
Hmm.
background."
And I feel like this could be another subject that we could cover is sustainability, as it goes
Yes.
with unfiltered awareness,
Yes.
because we are living in the world of like it's going fast, quick money, fast, blah blah blah. Like
Mhm.
it does not just have to be with money; it could be like weight loss and everything. But there is like sustainability is what is important, and
For
like
sure.
sustainability is also knowing that a business can take months. And having a client like the dream client could take years, and not being defeated of like, oh, I like seeing people like, oh, I started my business in 20, like, again, I'm not targeting you, Celia, but like, in 2019, and I made 1 million in 18 months.
And
And
yeah,
like,
everyone
like,
was getting
what about
stimulus
me?
checks and
Yeah, he's
stuff.
like, "Oh my
So
god, I've been in business for as long as her, blah blah." Yes, but like, how many bypassing did she have to go through? How she's feeling in her life?
yeah.
How many burnt outs did she come? How much money did she actually leaked out because of that amount of money? And
Yeah.
maybe she made 1 million, but she invested in a one-on-one coach for 300,000.
Yeah.
So actually, a third is already gone. Well, and 1 million have a tax on top of that. So all of those kind of things. So
Mhm.
maybe she actually just made 20K for the whole year
Mhm.
to herself. So we have to like come back to that as well. But it's another story. But I'm very passionate about pricing and money at like so many level, because I'm very interested in the sustainable wealth more than anything.
Yeah.
And after having been through like, I need to go fast, I can't go fast because I've been told to, which is not, like, again, for most of us it's not true. And again, there's so many people that could be in business for 18 months, let's put it this way, could have been having other business before that,
Yeah.
could have been
Yeah.
really connected before that.
Yeah.
So that's important to also notice that they're not giving you the whole background.
Yeah. Like a lot of them come from MLMs where they've built relationships with people who are buying their MLM stuff and then
That
they're like,
helps too.
"I'm doing coaching now."
Yeah. And one side note as well for you, Celia, have you been checking your email list? Are you ready to weed out?
Delete
That's
people?
that,
To delete
yeah.
people? How
Hmm.
do I do that on Flowdesk?
You go to Flowdesk, you
I
click
see
them,
like
and you
who
click
isn't opening
delete.
emails and take them out.
Yeah.
What's
I used to have over 400 people, and I weed out
yeah.
like over 200.
And what's the
Because they
what's
were
the
from
benefit of
another
that?
part of me, like, photographic things and everything. And I was
Oh, that's
like,
why.
they haven't open emails, blah, blah, blah. So they
Yeah.
don't really want to be there. And you
Mhm.
can see the trend. Some people like, I haven't been opening your emails, or they like showed little interest. You're like, we don't. So it's better to have 100 people that are wanting to have your emails than having like some people say, I have a email list of 50,000. It's like it actually only have 1% opening. I don't know, you should weed out the 99% that haven't been
Mhm.
opening the last 6 months. So again, it doesn't have to be done the next day, but it's interesting to actually kind of go more into like who hasn't been opening my emails for the last
Yeah.
few times.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, maybe sometimes could be lovely for you. We are talking about connection, and it's a little bit like a for anyone. If you've seen someone that have been connecting, it might be lovely to just send a personal email. I have been noticing you have been opening my emails. Is there anything I can help you with?
Mm.
Or
Hmm.
maybe is it time for us to part ways? And so I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah, I've been putting them to, like, in my to read, but I
Yeah,
never
I've been
got to it.
starring them and not opening them. I do that with some
I never
people.
got
I'll
to it.
star their email to want to read later, and then I never
Exactly.
get to it.
Exactly. So it's interesting to go through that as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to stop there, but like spiritual bypassing, I'm going to put on the show notes myself for Cilia a beautiful illustration. I don't know who created it because there is no source, but it's something that have been around online if you have been in the social sphere, like a social media sphere, around spiritual bypassing with the fragmentation and the wholeness. That could be a lovely way of like you seeing a little bit of what spiritual bypassing in a graphic way as well.
nice. I love that.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this two-part series of spiritual bypassing, and we're going to see you in the next episode. Have a great evening or day. I don't know.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Awareness. If you enjoy this episode and you want to support the podcast, you can do so by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. You can follow our podcast YouTube channel, which is linked below. You can also find us individually on Instagram. You can find Lucie at callme.lucie, and you can find Cilia at selfexpressedbabe. Both of those are linked in the caption below. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next time.